What if the fiercest warriors in Native American history weren't always men? Long before the Declaration of Independence in 1776, before George Washington crossed the Delaware, there were women across Native America who led war parties, defied colonial generals, and negotiated peace on their own terms. These were women who weren't written into history textbooks, but they were etched into the hearts of their nations. They stood at the crossroads of colonial conquest, tribal sovereignty, and ancestral power. Today, we bring their stories to light. From the burning deserts of New Mexico to the plains of Montana, these are the forgotten warrior women of Native America. And they changed history. Lozen was born around 1840 into the Cherokee Apache in what is now southern New Mexico. She was the younger sister of the great Apache war chief Victorio, and unlike many women of her time, Lozen trained in combat, tactics, and spiritual rituals. Victorio once declared,
"Lozen is my right hand, strong as a man, braver than most, and cunning in strategy."
Lozen possessed what the Apache called power, a spiritual gift that allowed her to detect the movement of enemies. During raids and escapes, she would raise her hands to the sky, chant, and feel the direction of danger. According to a Cherokee Apache oral testimony in 1903, Lozen would stand still like stone, eyes closed. Then she'd say, "They come from the south, we go north." And she was never wrong. After Victoria was ambushed and killed by Mexican forces in 1880, Lozen joined Geronimo in a campaign of resistance against the U.S. Army. In one famous incident, she escorted a pregnant Apache woman 100 miles through enemy lines, avoiding detection entirely. Captured in 1886, Lozen was imprisoned in Mount Vernon Barracks, Alabama, where she died of tuberculosis in 1889. But her legacy lives on as a fighter, seer, and protector. In the mid-1700s, during the lead-up to the French and Indian War, a Seneca leader named Queen Alliquippa held sway over the Ohio River Valley near present-day Pittsburgh. When a young George Washington arrived in 1753 as an emissary for British Virginia, he neglected to pay her the proper respects. She responded, swiftly and diplomatically. In George Washington's journal, December 1753, he wrote, "She expressed great displeasure that I did not wait on her." Washington corrected his mistake by bringing her gifts at the forks of the Ohio near Fort Necessity in 1754, highlighting her political importance. Alliquippa aligned her people with the British during the war, but she did so with careful calculation, ensuring protection and trade benefits. According to Seneca oral tradition, she spoke like thunder and walked like rain, a woman of war and peace. She died around 1756, but her legacy remains as one of the most powerful native women of the colonial era, one who commanded the respect of generals and kings. In June 1876, the Northern Cheyenne and their Lakota allies faced off against the U.S. Army at the Battle of the Rosebud in what is now southeastern Montana. As bullets flew, Buffalo Calf Road woman saw her brother comes in sight, thrown from his horse and surrounded. While others hesitated, she charged through open gunfire to rescue him. She rode straight into the bullets, not one man moved, only her. She pulled her brother onto her horse and brought him back. Cheyenne oral account, preserved through family lineage. That act electrified her people. Warriors rallied, the U.S. forces, led by General George Crook, were pushed back. Cheyenne oral history later called it the battle where the girl saved her brother. Just 8 days later, on June 25, 1876, she fought again, this time at Little Bighorn. Some Cheyenne elders believe it was Buffalo Calf Road woman who struck the blow that unhorsed General Custer, turning the tide of that legendary battle. She died in 1879 from diphtheria while imprisoned, but her name continues to be sung in Cheyenne ceremonies. Born in 1738 in Chota, the capital of the Cherokee Nation, Nanyehi was a member of the Wolf Clan, one of the Cherokee's most honored lineages. She earned the title Gigao, Beloved Woman, after fighting beside her husband in battle against the Creek in the 1755 Battle of Taliwa. When he fell, she took up his musket, rallied the warriors, and led them to victory. As Beloved Woman, she held the power to vote in council, pardon prisoners, and lead in times of war and peace. Let your women teach the children peace. Let your women teach the men peace. Nancy Ward, 1781 council speech. She warned Cherokee leaders against selling land to the U.S. government, correctly predicting the suffering that would come with removal. She told us, "Do not sell the land. If you do, you sell the bones of your ancestors." Cherokee oral tradition in the 19th century. Nanyehi died in 1822, 17 years before the Trail of Tears, but her warnings had long echoed through the Cherokee Nation, and still do. Born around 1806, Pine Leaf was taken captive as a child during a raid by the Crow Nation. Rather than being oppressed, she was adopted and rose to become a full warrior. She reportedly took a vow never to marry until she had killed 100 enemies, and her combat record became legendary across the plains. By her early 30s, she had earned the name Woman Chief, one of the few women ever appointed as a battalion leader among the Crow. She led war parties, negotiated with other tribes, and governed with fierce integrity. She rode like a flame across the plains. Men followed her not because she was feared, but because she was respected. Crow oral tradition. Her life was documented by frontiersman James Beckworth, who described her as the best Indian fighter on the plains, respected by allies and feared by enemies. She died around 1854, possibly in a raid by the Assiniboine, but her leadership left a powerful mark on Crow governance and gender roles. Lozen of the Cherokee, Queen Alliquippa of the Seneca, Buffalo Calf Road woman of the Northern Cheyenne, Nancy Ward of the Cherokee, Woman Chief of the Crow. These women were not anomalies. They were leaders, fighters, prophets, and diplomats, but history left them in the shadows. Now we bring them back into the firelight of memory. This is Native Historian. If you believe history must be told fully, subscribe, share this story, and leave a comment about the women warriors we still need to remember. And always stay curious.